Max had always been a boy who loved adventures. He'd read about them in books, dreamed of them at night, but he never imagined his greatest adventure would start right here, in his grandfather's dusty old attic. The air was thick with the scent of old wood and forgotten stories. Sunbeams cut through the grimy windows, illuminating dancing dust motes. He spent hours rummaging through forgotten treasures, old photographs, a tarnished silver locket, a collection of peculiar-looking shells. But then, tucked away in the corner of a heavy wooden chest, he found it.
Ho, ho, ho!
A rolled-up piece of parchment, tied with a simple leather string. It wasn't just any old scroll. A soft, gentle light seemed to pulse from within it, a quiet invitation to a world he had only read about. With a sense of excitement bubbling in his chest, Max carefully untied the string. This felt different. This felt like the beginning of something truly special. As he unrolled the parchment across the dusty floorboards, the attic seemed to grow dimmer, as if all the light in the room was being drawn into the map. It wasn't an ordinary map of towns or countries.
Ho, ho, ho!
Instead, intricate golden lines began to glow, weaving across the surface like threads of captured sunlight. They formed a breathtaking landscape of shimmering rivers, towering, jagged mountains, and deep, mysterious forests. It was a world of magic, right there in his hands. Drawn in by its beauty, Max reached out and traced a single glowing line with his finger. To his astonishment, the part of the path he touched flickered, and then completely vanished from the map. He tried another spot, and the same thing happened.
Ho, ho, ho!
It was a disappearing map. It was daring him to follow its path before it faded away forever, a race against memory itself. The map didn't just show him the way, it created it. A shimmering portal of light opened right there in the attic, leading directly into the first location on the glowing parchment, the Whispering Woods. Max took a deep breath and stepped through. He found himself in a forest unlike any he had ever seen. The trees were ancient and tall, their leaves rustling not with the wind, but with soft, hushed whispers that seemed to tell secrets only the woods knew.
Ho, ho, ho!
As he took his first step, glowing footprints appeared on the mossy ground before him, guiding him deeper into the enchanted forest. The air was cool and smelled of damp earth and something sweet, like blooming flowers. Every step was a choice, every rustle of leaves a new piece of the puzzle. The map had brought him here, but it was up to him to listen, to observe, and to truly be part of the adventure. Deeper in the woods, the glowing footprints led him to a clearing where a wide, fast-flowing river blocked his path. The water shimmered with an otherworldly light, beautiful yet impassable.
Ho, ho, ho!
But he wasn't trapped. A series of smooth, gray stones formed a makeshift bridge across the rapids. As he cautiously stepped onto the first stone, it held firm. But when he moved to the second, the first one sank beneath the water with a splash. He quickly jumped to the third stone, and the second one vanished. It was a puzzle. The stones appeared and disappeared in a specific sequence. He had to pay close attention and remember the pattern to make it to the other side. His heart began to pound with the rhythm of the rushing water.
Ho, ho, ho!
This wasn't just about being brave. It was about trusting his own mind, his ability to focus and remember the path forward, even when it kept changing. He realized that real courage wasn't about not being afraid. It was about taking the next step anyway. With a final, confident leap, Max landed safely on the far bank of the river. He turned back, a proud smile on his face, ready to see what challenge the map would present next.
Ho, ho, ho!
He looked down at the parchment in his hand, but to his surprise, the entire winding path through the Whispering Woods, the glowing footprints, the river, it had all vanished. All that remained was the starting point, a single golden dot marking his grandfather's attic. The map had done its job and then erased the memory, leaving him with only his own experience to rely on. A wave of understanding washed over him. The map wasn't just a guide, it was a teacher. It was teaching him to rely not on glowing lines, but on the map he was building inside his own head.
Ho, ho, ho!
He didn't feel lost, he felt empowered. He had navigated the woods and crossed the river, and the memory of how he did it was his alone. The single golden dot on the map began to pulse again, and a new destination shimmered into existence, the Crystal Caves. Another portal swirled open before him, this one sparkling with refracted light. Stepping through, Max gasped. He was in a vast cavern where the walls, ceiling, and floor were made of enormous, glittering crystals. Every surface was like a mirror, reflecting his image 1,000 times over.
Ho, ho, ho!
The air was cool and still, the only sound the soft, rhythmic drip of water echoing through the chambers, creating a strange, musical melody. The glowing path on his map led him forward, but it was immediately confusing. The light bounced off the crystal walls, creating dozens of false paths and confusing reflections. Hidden tunnels branched off in every direction, and the echoes of his own footsteps seemed to come from all sides at once. This challenge wasn't about physical skill, it was a test of perception.
Ho, ho, ho!
He had to trust his eyes and his memory to tell the difference between the real path and a mere illusion. Max slowed down, his heart calm and steady. The disappearing map had taught him a valuable lesson. Adventure wasn't just about rushing forward, it was about observing carefully. He began to notice small details the reflections couldn't perfectly mimic. A tiny crack in a real crystal wall, a unique pattern of moss growing near the true path, the way the light from his map felt warmer on the real passage compared to the cool distant light of the reflections.
Ho, ho, ho!
He started to create mental markers, using his memory to build a reliable guide through the labyrinth. With each correct turn, he grew more confident. The cave was trying to trick him, to make him doubt his own senses, but Max was learning to listen to that quiet, inner voice of certainty. He was learning that the most important tools on any adventure are the ones you carry inside you: a sharp eye, a clear memory, and the belief that you can find your own way. He navigated the final, twisting tunnel and emerged into a large, circular chamber.
Ho, ho, ho!
In the center, resting on a pedestal of pure, clear crystal, was a small, ornate compass. It wasn't made of brass and glass, but of glowing silver and a single, polished moonstone. As he picked it up, it felt warm to the touch. A triumphant, beautiful chime echoed through the cavern, and the entire cave system lit up with a brilliant, celebratory light. Engraved around the edge of the compass were words that glowed with a soft blue light. Courage and memory will guide you further than any map. Max's heart swelled with pride.
Ho, ho, ho!
He looked at the compass, then back at the now blank map in his other hand. He understood. The journey wasn't about reaching a destination on a piece of parchment. It was about discovering the skills and the strength he never knew he had. He had found something far greater than treasure. He had found confidence in himself. The greatest discoveries were the ones he made about his own mind and his own courage. A gentle light enveloped him, and in the blink of an eye, he was back in the familiar, dusty attic. The sun was now setting, casting long, warm shadows across the room.
Ho, ho, ho!
He looked down at the map, but it was completely blank, just an old piece of parchment now. The golden lines, the forests, the caves, they were all gone. But they weren't truly gone. They were alive and glowing brightly in his memory. He could still feel the cool spray of the river, hear the whispers of the ancient trees, and see the sparkle of the crystal walls. The adventure was over, but the experience had changed him. He walked over to the window and looked out at his quiet town. It looked the same as it always did, but for Max, it felt like a world full of new possibilities.
Ho, ho, ho!
He knew that the real map, the one that truly matters, isn't one you can hold. It's the one you carry inside your heart, filled with every step you've taken and every challenge you've overcome. Max carefully rolled up the now invisible map and placed it in a small wooden box. With a piece of chalk, he wrote on the lid, "Future Adventures." He placed the glowing compass right beside it. He knew this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. The world outside seemed to beckon to him, full of unexplored corners and new mysteries waiting to be solved.
Ho, ho, ho!
As the first light of dawn began to paint the sky, promising a new day, Max smiled. Another adventure was waiting just over the horizon. But this time, he wouldn't need a magical map to guide him. He had his courage, he had his memory, and he had the unshakable belief that he was ready for whatever came next. He was his own guide, and the whole world was his to explore. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more adventures.
Ho, ho, ho!